Conflict diamonds have played a major role in funding some of the most devastating civil wars in Africa. The Kimberley Process regulates the international trade in rough diamonds to eliminate the trade in conflict diamonds.
And this process really has had an impact. We can see that the flux of so-called conflict diamonds has diminished from approximately 15% before 2003 to less than 1% today. That is meaningful. Of course, it means that there is further work to be done, but it has had a meaningful impact, this process. And there is another impact. The Kimberley Process has also helped to change global and local attitudes when it comes to the trade in minerals, in raw materials. It has helped to get understanding for the idea that natural resources, that rough diamonds, belong to the communities that mine them, not to militias that might abuse them. As the chair, the European Union has set out a number of priorities for its chairmanship. Those priorities relate to the effectiveness of the Kimberley Process, to make sure that the rules that are there are correctly implemented, that the actors in the Kimberley Process build up the necessary capacity to be able to deliver the results that the Kimberley Process is put in place for. Also, to reinforce the very unique structure of the Kimberley Process that brings together governments on the one hand. Governments are the main players in the Kimberley Process, but industry and civil society each have their own unique and very important roles. The process was set up in 2003. Today we are 2018. We can see that diamonds can be used to fuel terrorist activities. We can see also that there is a growing attention, very rightly so, for human rights issues related to the production of diamonds. So as EU chair, the EU wants to look at the whole spectrum of issues that are important today and help ensure that this Kimberley Process remains fit for purpose.
The World Diamond Council represents the industry within the Kimberley Process. We are observers together with the civil society. We don't have a vote, but we do have a voice. I think the KP is still very relevant because we see in Africa, there's no absence of conflict, not only in Africa, in many parts of the world. So we should act even more as a conflict preventive tool. And I think it's extremely important to maintain this kind of positive pressure, as I call it, with the Kimberley Process. Hopefully we can expand also the role of the process in the future to make sure that not only just conflict is addressed, but also issues of grave violations of human rights, especially in high-risk areas.
The idea is basically for civil society to monitor the situation in diamond mining communities and be able to report that to the Kimberley Process. And we are also responsible for playing an oversight role on the decisions as well as on deliberations related to the trade of diamonds. I think if the Kimberley Process manages to redefine conflict diamonds, that would be fantastic because times have changed since 2002. There are new and emerging conflicts that are happening, and the Kimberley Process should be able to do that. We'll be happy if it manages to do that.
In support of its work on the Kimberley Process, the European Union also funds several projects. The Property Rights and Artisanal Diamond Development Project in Côte d'Ivoire, co-founded by the EU and USAID, is a concrete example.
The PRAD project has two objectives. We want to strengthen the chain of custody following the KP norms, but also improve the lives and livelihoods of small-scale mining communities. And our project is based on the principle that these two things go together. You cannot have an effective chain of custody while diamonds are also not being effectively used as tools for development. Many of them focus on rehabilitation of diamond mining areas, so economic activities that can be in parallel to diamonds, but that can also contribute to regeneration of land. So we have a fish farming program in old mining pits. We work with over 1,000 women organized in agricultural groups who we provide technical assistance and some inputs, and they've rehabilitated many hectares of old diamond mining land. With the PRAD project, we've supported KP multi-stakeholder groups locally in diamond mining communities and in the national capitals. We've seen diamond buyers, national government officials, mining communities talking to each other around the same table about issues that they face together. And often these actors don't have these spaces, and the KP has created these spaces of dialogue and coordination.
We have achieved a lot in terms of putting in place task forces, in terms of educating local communities, in terms of harmonizing fiscal regimes, and everybody is very much involved, including the high-level government officials, which is very positive for us. And I think we are still continuing. There's still a lot to do in that scope. As you know, that artisanal mining is really challenging sector, but I think we are on the right direction, and we will be improving more.
KP has to continue, but it has to reinvent itself. And that is the biggest reason that we are now looking at reviews and reforms. I think we will be able to contribute successfully to strengthening KP and making it more vibrant platform for all stakeholders in the diamond trade.